Good morning, everyone. We'll get started here in another minute. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending and watching today, and hope this is something very helpful for you guys. You're not welcome to take notes. As you can see, there's reminders. You can sign up again for more tech times, more training. I am Jim Stramlin, Technical Service Specialist. There's our phone numbers, tech services lines. You're welcome to give us a call anytime you need any questions, or if you have any things you'd like me to talk about in tech time, let me know. Tech Time is hosted by Intertech University and also Intertech Energy and Technology. Our websites are there for you to look. And one thing I want to show you today is on Intertech University, you will see that the header under Intertech University, we got home videos and playlists. Well, if you go to playlist, you will see Tech Time. All of our Tech Times have been recorded. You're welcome to go and watch them at any time that you would like. So again, remember, Intertech University for all our training recordings are there. One thing, talking about retrofits and going into a customer's home, one of the most important things that you can do to yourself is let them know who you are. A business card, and what I really liked was a photo business card so that people remember a face more than a blank card with just words on it. So present yourself as an expert in our industry. You can let them know that, I belong to IGSPA, I belong to Geo, I belong to your state organizations, and gives you a little more credibility because they're seeing that you've taken extra trainings and that you've taken the care to learn more about your industry and your craft. Make yourself look like a professional when you walk into a customer's home. I always like to start with, after communicating with the customers, looking at the mechanical room to see what they actually have existing then. Document the model numbers and serial numbers if they got a gas furnace, or same as with the existing Geo. So you may be doing a retrofit as a dual fuel application, or you may be doing a whole brand new basic rip the furnace out, put a Geo in, all kinds of different options. So document what you're doing. I've always had a sketchbook with me, and I used a graph paper to help draw. I'll show you here in a second. But the interesting part of it is draw out your floor plan. Draw it out so that if you don't have to go back again and you got the notes of what things look like. I'll show you here in my next slide. This is kind of an example of what I used to do. I would draw a square box. I'd put the windows in, the doors in, mark the size of the windows. I used to carry a black pen and carry a red pen. Then I could do the first floor in black, the second floor in red, and if we had a third floor or basement or whatever, you could make notes. So now I have the tools with me from visiting this job site that I can go in and do a good heat loss load calculation if need be. One of the most professional ways of showing a consumer is by showing them a manual J load calculation and say, here's the proof. And then with that, you can do a GeoAnalyst or some kind of report program that shows the operating costs, the potential savings that this homeowner may expect, I should say. So something like this you can do very simple, very quick, doesn't have to be professional. Go on the job site. And again, today's cell phones all have cameras. Take some pictures of what you're working with. This is another drawing that I've always done is I'll draw up the picture of the furnace so I know the orientation of the ductwork. This one has a right-hand return. And this would be like an existing unit, so you can take measurements. Look at the height. Look at the height up to a flex joint if there is, because all of this makes you look better also, because you're showing your customer you're sincere, taking all these information, taking all these notes. and you can do a better job if you end up getting the job. So now you don't have to make another trip to examine the duct size, examine the location. How about the taking a look at the width from left to right? Will this unit fit in there? All those little details make you stand out from maybe your competitors. Explain to the homeowner what you are actually doing and why you're doing this, and that maybe and this is a job that maybe he'll do next year. So now you have all the data written all again, so you can refresh your memory. I used to keep all these little files in manila envelopes, or folders, I should say, or envelopes for a job site, and then store them for future usage. So it's something good to have this kind of documentation, have the photos in a computer file or wherever you like to store your stuff, and save that for future use. But again, what kind of gas, how many BTUs is the furnace, model numbers and serial numbers. Sometimes you have to do a little research to see what's there. Just because they have a 50 to 60,000 BTU furnace doesn't mean that's going to be the geo load. Do your due diligence, do your heat loss calculation, look at your windows, look at all the data, and come up with the proper sizing. As we all know, proper sizing of a heat pump is very important. We don't want too much, we don't want too little. So one thing I really look at when I go in and start looking at the ducts, I want to know how many registers and grills there are per floor level. I would actually try to count the numbers off on each individual branch circuit from the plenum. So then I know the ductwork sizing, how much air I can push through each individual trunk. And I think one of the important things is try to make a system quiet. I always like to try to get somewhere between 90 to 100 CFM per opening, and that may change in your location or your locale. That's kind of an idea where I used to do. All the notes that you can take, the size of the ductwork, trunk work, all that stuff comes into play and is very important in the end. Explain this to your customer. Why am I doing this? I want to make you a quiet and comfortable system. So I go look into a house or a home, and let's say I had I'm going to put a 4-ton geothermal in. So at 400 CFM per ton, I'm looking at 1,600. So I would typically divide by 100, and so it gives me like I need 16 supply registers, and that's a minimum. So now, does your customer shut down some during the winter or the summer months? Maybe I don't want to cool the basement or heat the basement or whatever. You guys have to realize that's a mistake and a problem as well. We can't shut down that much airflow requirements, or we need to add a lot more ducts. One of the very important keys I hope you guys all have is a ductilator. Intertech used to have these things back years ago, and this is from like 2012. So the important thing on a ductilator is how you can learn and size equipment and the duct sizes to make things work. So if you don't have a ductilator, you need to get one, and if you don't understand how to use it, ask. That's something that we can teach, or we can train a little bit on what you're doing. On here, it actually tells you that our recommended residential settings is a 0.10 static pressure. And then by using this, you can determine duct sizes, number of openings, and then again, make sure that this will work for this homeowner. If you can't do the ductwork, let's say the ductwork's in a finished basement, well, maybe we'll have to look at doing a geothermal split unit, right? So we can add it to their furnace. Again, look at the furnace model numbers, and serial numbers will actually get in there and tell you how much CFM that furnace is designed for, and then see if it can handle, the ductwork can handle the amount of the geothermal you can put in the match. If it can't, well, new furnace, new ductwork. But again, look at all these things and make sure you communicate, to the customer. Talk about ECM fan motors. One of the things that's a lot of people I hear don't realize, if you leave your blower fan run with an ECM motor, it costs you a couple of bucks a month or something like that. You can create way more comfort from left side of the house to the right side of the house, up or down. It'll help even out the air temperatures tremendously. Won't be as good as maybe a zoning system, and that's something else that you need to talk with the customer as well. Zoning is an important thing. It can be retrofitted. There's many different brands out there. Obviously, we have a wonderful brand of EWC, and take a look at that as an option, or explain the option to the customer. The more details you can give about what you can do as a company, the better off you're going to look in their eyes. Wow, this guy's he knows what he's doing, or she knows what he's doing. So, do your due diligence and make yourself look more professional than your competitor. Make sure you talk to the homeowner if he knows his insulating values of his insulation. Do you know the age of the windows? Do you know what they are, double pane or triple pane, or do they have any coatings on them? Some of those things are very critical and very important when you're going to do that manual J load calculation for their home. Again, that's industry standard manual J. They got computerized programs, they got manual calculation programs. Something that is very important to show the consumer that you know what you're doing. I've done this for your home. I feel this is going to be the best fit, and go with this option. So again, talk to them, explain to them what you're doing, and hopefully that will help you get the job. Explain the dual fuel system or standalone geothermal. Some co-ops in the areas or states have better geothermal rates for dual fuel. So maybe they still want to keep a furnace or a gas furnace or natural gas or propane in conjunction to save them with a backup. So explain these opportunities, these choices to your consumer. Offering choices is one of the greatest things you can do. That's why I used to offer zoning, different loop fields, all this stuff, make yourself look better. If you're going to replace, let's say they have an existing heat pump and we want to change it out and put a new one in, right? Remember, our new equipment's got higher COPs, and in a nutshell, what that means is we are taking more heat out of the ground loop than we used to. So retrofitting is very critical to pay attention to what kind of existing loop field they may have had. Well, you know what? A lot of times we don't know and we have to assume. Well, you know what assume can mean, right? So do your due diligence and realize that a 5-ton loop field with an old unit and a 5-ton, that same loop field with a new unit, isn't going to always work depending on your locale. So then what do we do then? Well, one of the factors have gone in is added additional loops. Sometimes we can go in with a directional boring machine or excavating it up and putting another one in, or give them a whole brand new loop field, give them those options. I've always found that adding additional loops today is a better way to go. Explain that to the customer. So the more loops I put in, the warmer the incoming water temperature I'm going to have makes your system more energy efficient and makes my system better than maybe the competitors. So that's one thing to look at. A lot of people will do on a retrofit is add electrical resistance strip heat to the job site as well. This is an economical option, but will the electrical supply handle it? That's something they have to look at. One thing that we found through the winter and through my experience of times in northern states, thermostats. Okay, so thermostats do the staging. You get first stage, second stage, and maybe third stage adding the electrical strip resistance heat to it. Well, then a lot of the thermostats will backstage, right? They'll go from third to 2 to 1, then maybe they'll go back to 2, then 3. So they never get a time to basically recover themselves or sleep in a way. So thermostats are also important to pay attention to. That a lot of the good thermostats have settings in there where they can finish on the last stage or finish on high stage. So they'll go 1, 2, 3, they'll quit, and then they'll go back to 1. So it actually gives the loop field a little bit of a chance to recover and regain some warmth, and you'll find that they'll work a lot better. And they may use a little bit of electric strip, but it's going to be pretty minimal compared to having a cold or too cold a loop field and you lose all your heat for the winter. Let's see, how about again, measuring equipment? Look at tight quarters. Some of our new cabinets are wider or bigger or deeper compared to old units. Look at your loop field connections coming into the heat pump. So if you do a retrofit, you can make something work. One big factor I used to always tout to my customers, I'm going to insulate your plenum and your return boots. The reason I do that, it really does dampen the sound noise traveling through the ductwork. It isn't going to hurt the velocity of the airflow that much because you're usually oversizing the plenum and return boots anyway. But again, I'm going to make your system a little bit quieter by either adding this insulation in there, adding more ductwork and registers, makes my system very more comfortable everybody hears problems. Oh, I hate my noise. I hate the system. A lot of it's from that initial installation or design and improper work. So do your best. If you don't understand or you got questions, please ask. You can ask our technical support team that we have available here. I also did a lot of site visits and sketch out the house outbuildings. Do a site plan, very important. Like I said, it may be another year, 2 years, so jot down, draw the house in, draw trees, shrubs, buildings, garages, whatever you have. Like to note where power lines were, where your phone lines, cable lines, gas lines, where is the well line going to the house? How about where the sewer goes? Drain lines, do they have a sprinkler system? Mark all this stuff on a sheet and plan where you can put a loop field and what type of loop field you can put in, and mark the data again on your maps of where your future job site may enter the house with your geopipes. Other important tools and thoughts I'm going to continue next month on part 2. I want to talk more about the manual J load calcs, computer design software, and some discussion of heat calcs from fuel usage methods, which is a real easy way to figure out exactly how this house has been heating and what it needs. And talk about why you guys should be using GeoAnalyst in all your presentations. Use the tools that are given to you from us so that you guys can actually watch and you guys can actually see explaining it to the customer why my system will work. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for watching. I appreciate your attendance. And again, remember, these are being recorded and stored on our Intertech YouTube channel. And here's our technical services members. I'd like to introduce Kern Wildhaber, used to be with us, is going to be full-time with us beginning of the month. So welcome, another fantastic addition to our technical services team. So again, thanks for attending. And again, Intertech University, these websites are recorded, or training notices of training, all our trainings are recorded and stored on our YouTube channel. So you're welcome to view them anytime. Again, thank you, have a good day, and good selling.